Do you have any idea how powerful images are from an SEO perspective? I didn't. I truly had no clue until only recently. Sure, I had always known to include the alt data externally on images, and I even knew what metadata was, but I seriously had no clue as to how powerful it is. One of my marketing buddies, his name is Lenny, asked me if I had any software that could manipulate metadata on images, resize images, and create like thumbnail images from videos and so on. I told him I didn't, but that it was perfectly within my skill set to build a tool that would do those things for him. Now, this is where my own education about the power of controlling the metadata in images began. As Lenny walked me through the various opportunities that present themselves from a metadata perspective, I was hooked. So I started doing some Google searches on the topic and realized that I'd been missing a big piece of the marketing pie for a very long time. So based on the knowledge that I'd gained doing the Google searches and the knowledge that Lenny had so graciously supplied, I built the ThumbNailer program. Now, once I had it built, I took it into my private group and I told everyone what I was doing and asked them for suggestions. I can tell you this, when you walk into a room full of full-time professional internet marketers and tell them you'll build in any helpful function that they want into this new software program, well, things got very intense, very interesting. Now, once the dust settled and I'd got everything built into the software that the pro marketers out in the trenches wanted, I had two very powerful versions available. As is standard protocol, one is the standard version, the other is the Pro Edition. I made separate walkthrough tutorials for each of them in order to show you the software, what it does, and in general how it functions. So let's go ahead, let's jump into those walkthroughs now.
Let's do us a quick walkthrough on the ThumbNailer software. First of all, originally when this software was being created, it was just going to be to create thumbnails, but as I was developing this, there was a lot of people in my private group who were just slinging out suggestions left and right of what they wanted in this type of program. So this actually turned out to be a lot more than just a thumbnail generation tool, but I already had the name stuck on there, so I left it. So we're going to walk through it. What this does is it does images and it does metadata, okay? Or metadata, however you say it. I'm going to name a project, create a project. And image width. Now, when you put in the width, it auto scales it so that it doesn't skew your image and make it look wrong. So I'm just going to say I want this image to be, I'm just going to say 225, right? So I'll select a video that I want. I like this one, and I'm just going to tell it to make thumbnails. Now, like with all of my software, it's going to check to make sure that you've got the latest version, and it's going to check to make sure that the software is registered. Well, it already finished, and here's what it did. When it finished, it automatically popped up this folder, and it has what I created in there. Now, this is on the desktop itself. All right, so here is the images that we just made, right? You can see they were 225 wide as I had set it, and in order for them to have the correct ratio aspect, it is 225 by 126. So it made them, and basically what it did is it took my video clip and made me a series of thumbnails from throughout the video clip, right? Okay, now let's look at this real quick. Let's look at our properties, and you're just seeing the regular stuff right there, right? We're good. Now, this one full size, which you didn't elect for, you said, oh, I want size 225. Well, the program is going to go ahead and make you a full size every time, right, of whatever resolution that video is. So by default, it's a 1920 by 1080 on this video. So in addition to your small 225 size that you size down, you also have the big size there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and close that, and I'm gonna tell it I want 500. Let's do it again. Okay, so there it goes. There's my 500, and on the 500s, well, it's 499 by 281, right? So it gives me all of those thumbnails that I can use. But I can also, well, let me go back. Here you see how I just left the project and everything the same, changed the size. So it keeps that in a main project folder, and it does it under the project that you're in right now. So it'll go ahead, you can make as many different sizes as you want. And because it's changing the aspect ratio with the size, that means they're always going to look good. Your images are always going to look nice and crisp and clear. Let's get rid of that now. Now, this is just telling you that it's saved in a desktop folder named Thumbs. Now, whenever let's do the display metadata. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to go to Thumbs, the ones that I just created, and let's see, we'll do these, and just tell it I want to do this number 3, and I want to see what my current metadata is. Now you notice I click this button, select the image, and tell it OK, and then I just wait, and this thing will pop up. So it takes some people's machines longer to pop this up than others, so you know, it is what it is. Now what you'll notice here is that basically the metadata for that image has simply been stripped. All it's given there is just the basics, I mean like super basics of this image. So there's no actual metadata there. Okay, the reason that happened is if you run this program without putting keywords in it, then it'll strip away all of the metadata. Okay, now if you put keywords in, let me find some real quick. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and paste some in, and I think I'll tell this one to do me at 750. I don't have to do this. I mean, I could just leave it as is, but might as well do something useful while I'm running it. And so now what it's doing is it's not only creating those images, it's first stripping away all of the metadata out of them. Then it's rebuilding those images with my own metadata stuffed in there, which my metadata being keywords, just stuffed in there like crazy, right? So let's go ahead now, let's look at that metadata again. Now you're seeing quite a different picture, aren't you? Okay, so before we put our keywords in there was no metadata. Now, as you can see, we've stuffed every square inch of this image with metadata. And not only is it using multiple keywords, but it'll use those keywords with just a space separator, a random set of your keywords out of the list that you added, but it'll also use a random set that is separated by commas, so that you're getting the best of both worlds. And this does this on a per image basis, so all of your images are not going to have the exact same data on the exact same lines. It doesn't work like that. Every single image that it creates is going to have its own new set of random keywords from your list, so that it's really not detectable that you're purposefully stuffing these. So there you go, there's some power. And that's pretty much it. Enjoy the software. I think it's going to help you go a long way, those guys that are using metadata for SEO. Okay, you've seen the standard version. Right now you're looking at the pro version, and as you can see, pro version has a lot more power built into it. Obviously this is everything that's in the standard version. Here's the additional that the pro version provides. The first thing, where in this part we say, okay, let's select a video to get the clips from, but what if we don't have necessarily a video that we want to get image clips from? Well, you can go and find a video on YouTube. I think it would probably not be proper to get somebody's video that is their own, but you could certainly go through the CC videos, the Creative Commons videos. Those are the licensing that people say, hey, anybody can use this for any reason. You can go through there, and then basically you would just click it. It's going to ask you for the URL to that video. You would give it to it. That's it. Let it run, and here it's going to take just a few minutes, and it's going to pop that video up for you, saved onto your desktop or wherever you tell it to save. So you can download your video and then come here, enter it in, and get your clips from that video. So you're really not limited to what sort of thumbnails you're pulling. Imagery size. Now, this is since this is made to work, the ThumbNailer was made to work with videos. But of course, as I was developing this out, people came to me and said, hey, Cliff, I have a folder full of images that I want to use for some reason, and they're not on a video. I just need a way to manipulate these images. I want to make them all a different size, and I want to keyword stuff on the metadata with them so that I get that full SEO effect. So this is what this option does. You'd click this button. It's gonna every one of these buttons will just take you through a little series of prompts of its own. So there you go. It's going to let you decide a folder, and then it's going to resize every image in that folder for you and SEO them with your metadata if you want, or it'll strip it all away if you leave this blank. Select image folder for metadata change. Now on this one, it doesn't resize anything. It simply puts your metadata in there or strips it out however you want. For example, if you had downloaded a whole bunch of images off the net, and you definitely want to strip the metadata out of those at a very minimum, right, so that you can use them without them being tracked back to you, because that's how images get tracked back to people, is they're following that metadata, so they're finding that you got it. So now everything on this software, if you wipe out the metadata and then you add more, it's completely rebuilding that image, so every image becomes unique to itself, and it can't be tracked anymore. So in other words, it becomes completely your own. Okay, so this just changes the metadata, which is to either remove it, or if you add keywords here, it's going to go ahead and put those in for your SEO. Watermark images using text. Now, some people like to get these tons of images in order to upload to various places for the traffic that brings, and they want to watermark their images. So I went ahead and I set two different options on that. You can watermark your images using text, or you can watermark your images using another image. And again, it'll have several prompts. When you click the button and go through it, it's going to have several little interactive screens that comes up, gives you all sorts of options so that you can do that. Now, anytime you're messing with anything, I don't care what it is, you always make sure that you have a project name and an image width. Even if it's something like this, that's image width has nothing to do with it, you still want to keep that there, because that's creating on the inside, that's creating the path to where the save changes and stuff like that's going to go. So you always want to have that in there. But as you can see, the Pro version takes you 10 miles higher than the standard version. This has the power, if you do anything with images, if you know anything about marketing with images or using images with SEO, this should have your head set on fire right now. This is some pretty serious mojo. So wanted to show you that so that you can see what the pro level really is.
Now right there is some power. Now I want to make sure that you don't miss out on the power of metadata in images as long as I did. So I priced this thing so low, pretty much everyone can easily afford it. You're going to want to get this one for sure, so go ahead and read the rest of the page, because it does have some additional information on it that is important, and I'll see you on the other side.